What up, players? Friday, man. Last Friday of the month, which means today is our Softwash 101 class. It's about 7 a.m. So I've been up about an hour out running some errands, going to the bank. Class starts at 9, so I'm trying to take advantage of the morning before everybody gets here and take you guys along for the ride. I'm fixing to show you something that we do this job every other year pretty much, and we do it the easy way. Ray Burke posted a video in Spray Wash Academy the other day of a similar type job, and it reminded me, hey, I need to go quote that thing this year. So I'm going to show you what it is. And they were pretty much doing it the same way that we like to do it. I like to work smarter, not harder, so I'm going to show you what we're talking about. My new guy, Jonathan, he's only been with us a month. He started like the last week of January, super slow, you know, the dead of winter. But that was fine. I was trying to take advantage of the slow season to get him trained up. He's still learning, but he's out on his own washing. And this week he's did about $2,000 worth of work. He did not work Monday. He worked with us in the shop Monday, so he wasn't out on the truck. So he worked 4 days this week. He's going to do about $2,000 worth of wash jobs. That's with no advertising. We haven't done any ads other than our Google stuff, so no specific targeted ads. So brand new dude, right? Little bit of training. Now, granted, he's been around me, but we've been in the shop talking about everything and trying to make sure he was up to speed. But he's already doing really, really good, and he's going to be solid. So I'm paying him really well on that truck. I'm basically letting him run the truck, right? And you can't do this with any lead tech, but I've known Jonathan since he was born, and I can trust him. And he's a stand-up guy. He is a Christian. He's an associate pastor at a church here in town, and I can just kind of let him manage the truck, and that's really good because I don't have time to manage the truck. So I'm paying him lead tech type status, even though he's really not there yet, but he'll get there. He's fine. So let me show you guys what we're doing here. I'm gonna take the iPhone down. Probably gonna be some janky camera work here, but bear with me. So see this fence here? Right here is where the property starts at, and this is some of that 3-slat fence. And we'll put the camera back up, and let me get back out here into the road. We're out here on these little county roads. There's hardly ever any traffic. So this is a lawyer here in town, and his son, who's also a lawyer and used to be the judge here in our district. This is their farm. They're also kind of related by marriage. So my wife and this guy's wife are first cousins. So we come up here, we know them, right? We're kind of sort of related, but the fence starts right there, and I'm doing 35 miles an hour, okay? And the fence is right here. You can't see it, but it's right here. I'm gonna turn. Maybe you guys can see the fence over here on the side. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but there's vinyl fence right there, okay? And we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving. Now the fence stops because it goes back up that way around the back of the house. There's their driveway right there. So we go up the driveway, and the fence is continued, but it's up there in the wood line. And then the fence comes back down the long other driveway right here and picks up right there, and we're driving. I'm doing about 45 now, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're still driving. I'm doing about 50 miles an hour, and we've still got fence, lots of fence, 3-slat vinyl fence. Still got some fence, and a little bit more fence, and right there's the end. So it is a lot of fence, and like I said, that span where the gap is at is not a gap. It's actually longer than if it had just been straight out by the road. It goes way up around the back side of the property and comes back down to the road. because their houses are kind of in a little cutout. So it's a cattle farm. The name of the farm is White Fence Farms. So they do lawyery stuff by day, they do farmy stuff by night. They're not like, it's a big acreage farm, but they don't have, like, it's a lot of cows, but it's not a whole bunch. So I guess it was about 10 years ago. It's been a minute, because I was working, this was before I was working at Walmart. White Fence Farms is the name of it, and I walked into his office. I drove this road one day, and I was like, good Lord, that fence is freaking nasty. So I drove up there to his little office in town. I watched their office too, and I said, hey bro, your fence up there, so y'all are doing some false advertising, man. You got White Fence Farms out there by the road, but your fence is green. Your fence got that yeah on it. So he's like, hey, go ahead and quote it to me. Can you clean it? Well, you dang right we can clean it, cuz. We can clean anything. So let me get you a quote on it, and I'll get back to you. So we drove out there, looked it over. Now, please keep in mind that these are Roanoke, Alabama prices, okay? Very, very low median income here. Even though he's a lawyer, people around here are very cheap, okay? So my prices, we do well with our pricing, but I have to cater to my area. So I came back to him. I said, bro, we'll do that fence for $1,000. He said, go ahead and do it. Like, crap, I should have said $1,500. If $1,500 would have been a good price. It's a lot of fence. And you got to remember about that fence is you got to do both sides of it. But I already knew how I was going to do it. So we came up here the next day. I was actually by myself. This was way back before Southeast Softwash was a thing. What I did, I had a 100-gallon tank on the back of my little Nissan pickup, and I batch mixed myself up about 4% mix, and I drove alongside the fence, and I took my wand and brought it through the little back glass right there of the truck, and I held it out the window, and I put it in first gear, and I just let off the clutch, and I drove alongside the fence and sprayed really slow, and just drove the whole fence. And then I went on the inside. They got a gate, went on the inside, sprayed, and I went to lunch. It took me about 2 hours to spray it down. Went to lunch. Came back that afternoon, topped my tank back off, and I sprayed again. Sprayed the outside, sprayed the inside, and the fence was clean. And I told him on the front end, I was like, you might have a little bit of yellowing of the grass, below the drip edge. And he was like, I don't care about that. So sprayed it down, went home one day, probably 4.5 hours or something like that total. And I'm sitting in the truck with the radio on and the air conditioner, I'm not working, just driving along, spraying. So the next day, there's my good buddy Ty Dukas' house. We watched his house. Next day I went up there, I said, hey dude, your fence is good. And he's like, what? I said, you're good. Yeah, your fence is clean. So there's no way. I got in late last night. I didn't pay any attention. It was kind of dark. There's no way you did that in a day. I said, yeah, it's clean. I said, I tell you what, go home today, get on your little side-by-side, drive around, look at it. If you see anything, let me know. But you're not going to see anything because I've already looked at it. The fence is clean. He said, I'll check. I'll call you. All right, no hurry. So he calls me the next day. He's like, dude, I don't know how you did that, but I got your check up here waiting on you. So I went up there and got my check, and he's like, man, how did you do that so fast? You did that in a day. I said, well, I really did it in like a half a day. How did you do that? Well, can't tell my secrets, right? He said, well, the last girl that cleaned it for me 4 or 5 years ago, she drove around on my side-by-side with a bucket of bleach water and a brush, and she brushed that fence. So it took her like 2 weeks. Well, that's her fault. Like, she's working hard, but she's not working smart. Now, I applaud her working. She was just some girl around here that needed some money, and kudos on her for getting out there and hustling. But guys, I say all that to give you that story. That vinyl fence is pretty easy stuff to clean, right? And I saw a guy comment on Ray's video, and he was like, well, what about the bottom side? You have to get out there and hit the bottom side. No, you don't. You put some surfactant in there. It's pretty slimy, so when you spray it, it'll wrap around the bottom of that slat, and it'll kill all that stuff. Now, I always tell them, his was pretty bad that first time. We've cleaned that fence 3 times since then, so every 2 or 3 years we clean it. It's not that bad in 2 or 3 years. It's just mostly, you know, mildew and algae. But if it's got a bunch of lichens on there, I'll say, hey, you know, those are going to die, but they'll take them a minute to come off. And if you see them within like a month and a half, just give me a call. I'll come back and hit those areas again. The lichens are kind of hard to get off, but it's not that bad. And you usually only see those where if there's a tree right up against the fence. But those slat fences, so dudes will say, hey, how much should I charge for this slat fence? Well, you figure yourself out a linear foot price if you want to. And if it's not like this, like it's a freaking mile of fence, that can work. The problem is when you get into square foot or linear foot pricing and it's on a big job, it starts adding up, and it'll get to where it's out of the realm of, you know, sanity. Like we had a guy come to Washington, Hamid, you're probably going to watch this video, and we were talking. I did that water tower for $9,000, and he's got a lead on like 100 of them, 130 of them, and he was like, well, I'm going to try to get them at 9, you know, like what you got. I said, well, dude, they're probably not going to bite that. And then when we talked about it, he was like, yeah, you're right. You're not going to do them at $9,000 times 100. It was like $1.1 million to clean them. They ain't going. No, they're not going to pay $1.1 million to wash some water towers. So you've got to adjust your figure based on the volume, right? So just take that stuff into account. If it's a mile of fence, but you can make $1,000 in a day, or in your area, you probably get a lot more than that if y'all are in a better market than we are. But hey, $1,000 for riding my truck for 4 hours and spraying that yang, I probably cleared 900 between chemicals and, you know, a little bit of gas in the truck. So easy money. Don't pass those fences up, man. They're super easy. Just like this one's on a cattle farm, and it's just old grass below it. If they got some really pretty lawn below it, you're going to have a little bit more, you're going to have to rinse, you know, to dilute that down. But just some old pasture ground out there, it's not really a big deal. So spray it and get a check, baby. So we're going to get up here to the shop, let you guys run. Hope y'all have a great Friday. We'll hop in here to this Softwash class, check in with you dudes later. Peace out.